A wonderful morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of the program, Morning Ride. It is actually Thursday's edition on your favorite TV program, Morning Ride. On behalf of board, management, and staff of Delta Broadcasting Service, and on behalf of the producer and the crew of Thursday Morning Ride, my name is Ifi Osita Olunwa, welcoming you, and I want to believe that you had a beautiful night rest. Welcome to Thursday, the 6th of November, God's on year 2025. Today happens to be the very first day, the very first Thursday, and we're throwing back Thursday. I know Thursdays are usually throwback to what's happening in music, and check your pictures and see the progress that you're making. Yes, and of course we're going to be talking about what is trending, some trending stories making the rounds on the social media space, and of course we'll try to look at what the people are saying today on our dailies. And not only that, we'll be having our interview corner, our guest corner, and we're talking about something very important this morning: protecting female youth in the society, especially now that we're talking about Ochanya and the rest of what is happening in the country, especially amongst the female folks. But then, apart from that, away from that, we'll be talking about property policies and approaches towards property agent inflation and house deficit. Right, so welcome. It's going to be a bumper pack on your Thursday morning edition of Morning Ride. And let's go straight to what's trending. A lot of things are trending, but what is on the top burner is the fact that Trump's threat to send U.S. military to Nigeria is what is trending. And yesterday I saw a video of the Senate president saying that there's no time he said that Trump should send his army up. He didn't dare him. And I don't know if it was the AI video that people, circulated on the social media space, but he came out to debunk that he didn't say that people, take what he said out of context. But now, former U.S. President Donald Trump, or rather, not former, he's the president of the U.S. now, has made a controversial statement threatening to deploy U.S. military forces in Nigeria, citing mass killing of Christians by Islamist militants. That's the U.S. President Donald Trump has made a controversial statement threatening to deploy the U.S. military forces in Nigeria, citing mass killing of Christians by Islamist militants. Now, the Nigerian government has strongly rejected this framing, defending its sovereignty, and pointing to constitutional guarantees of religious freedom. And of course, the implication now is that if this escalates, the international attention on Nigeria's internal security issues, it could, continues. For us in Nigeria, the challenge will be that, to balance internal security, religious tensions, and external perceptions. But what this means for me is that, yes, they are threatening to come, and even though I think that they should not make it a religious war, if you want to help Nigeria solve their many security challenges, they are welcome. We need all the assistance that we can get to solve security challenges and problems that we're having. Kidnapping is on the increase everywhere, every nook and cranny of Nigeria. And so if the U.S. military, wants to help Nigeria, then I hope that they don't have an undertone or hidden agenda for it. and they should rule out religious sentiment and help Nigeria without, like I said, hidden agenda. For me, that will be a welcome development. But if it's not what we are thinking or what we actually need, then President should go and talk to Donald Trump and see the U.S. president and see how best they can, help us solve the security issues we're having in the country, because there are one too many, and that's the truth. All right, another thing that we need to know that is also trending is the export ban on raw shea nuts. Nigeria has imposed a 6-month ban on exporting raw shea nuts. The goal is to force value addition locally, that is refining shea butter and related products, thus building domestic industry rather than just exporting raw material. So to a layman now, before now, we do our thing and then we produce it. And that's why before you can buy your shea butter for 50 naira, but now I think the least amount you can get it for is 200 naira, and it is very, very small. So if this ban is enforced, it means that instead of exporting all our products outside Nigeria, we can just, domesticate it. Yes, we have industries that can produce shea butter in large quantity, and it's not just for you buying for your domestic use. It's being used for, commercial purposes as well. So it's going to help us. Now, if successful, that is, if this ban is successful, this could significantly boost local manufacturing and job creation. Not just manufacturing, but job creation in rural communities. But the move carries risk, especially if processing capacity is inadequate or local factories can't scale up fast enough. Now, it's a bet on pro-value addition and industry. Yes, we want them to domesticate a lot of things here in Nigeria, but there are other implications that they need to also look inwards and make it, strike a balance. All right, away from that, another thing that is trending as well is that the African Development Bank, AFDB, is expected to lend Nigeria $500 million in 2025 as part of a broader $1 billion budget support plan. Now, this comes amid a backdrop of significant economic reforms under President Tinubu, including subsidy removal and currency reforms. In fact, subsidy removal is one thing that is biting. Personally, it is really, really difficult because the pump price is increasing by the day, and whether we like it or not, it's a ripple effect. It's affecting every sector of our economy. Now, the implication, therefore, is that such support could improve fiscal stability and fund critical development programs. It is a signal of confidence from international financial institutions in Nigeria's reform agenda. But increased debt also raises questions about long-term sustainability. All right, another trending story that we need to also look at this morning is the central bank interest rate cut. For the first time in 5 years, Nigeria's central bank, CBN, cut its benchmark rate by 0.5% point, bringing it to 27%. This reflects cooling inflation, but the rate remains very high by global standards. Now, this course could make borrowing slightly cheaper, helping businesses and possibly stimulating growth. But with such a high base rate, the cost of capital is still very steep. Now, success depends on whether inflation stays on a downward trajectory and whether foreign reserves remain stable. Away from that CBN, because for a layman, what is this? Pretend for a layman. So they will further break it down and see how it's, positively will impact on our lives, or rather on our economy. All right. Our next trending story to look at, to pay attention to, is the flooding issue, the flooding crisis. Now, Nigeria is experiencing severe flooding in 2025, with major floods reported in states like the Niger State, the Rivers State, and Kwara State. The Moka flood in Niger State was particularly devastating, reportedly killing over 500 people, displacing thousands, and destroying homes and infrastructure. Now, the implication of this is that the humanitarian impact is huge. Beyond immediate rescue and relief, there will be long-term needs, such as rebuilding infrastructure, restoring livelihoods, and improving food resilience, and of course having food security. Also, such disasters stress public finances and can distract from other national priorities. All right, let's look at insecurity as well. It's also trending, of course. Insecurity, the militant attacks. There was a militant attack in Kwalejia, Sokoto State, with around 15 to 17 people killed. Now, separately, tensions remain high in places like Benue State, where Header-Fema conflict has led to mass violence, just like the Akbanta killings. Now, insecurity, if this continues to be a major drag, it has actually continued to be a major drag. Just as I mentioned when I started this conversation about the U.S. president, saying that he's going to send military, personnel to come rescue, or rather help us solve security issues, particularly the killing of Christians by Islamic sects. Well, that is still under talks right now. Now, lastly, let's take a look at the cultural and fashion spotlight. The likes of the Lagos Fashion Week, which held its 15th edition, is still trending as well. And so, for the fashion lovers, I hope that you enjoy that particular one. But the broader themes and analysis of all that I've just mentioned is the economic reform and the external financing, the value addition strategy, that is for the she not, and of course the climate and disaster risk, as bordering on flooding as well, the security as a major constraint. Yes, I'm talking about fuel subsidy, removal of fuel subsidy, but insecurity, in fact, is a major constraint in Nigeria. And if this is tackled in no distant time, I believe we'll not have much challenge or problems in the country. That is one issue, big issue, that everybody, all hands, needs to be on the deck. Just recently, Mr. President, our president, changed the service chiefs, and I just hope that there's going to be a turnaround in every aspect, in every sector, especially as it involves security and insecurity in the country. All right, we'll take a quick break right now. I will come back. We'll look at what the papers are saying this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.